Yo, 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 yo!
What
Welcome to
it
the
do?
man, to the man. Look at you already like you.
Awesome.
I told you I was gonna do an introduction, brother. That's it. I'm gonna do an introduction, man. This virtual, y'all. You know what I'm saying? We're doing virtual now. You feel what I'm saying? So, hey, welcome to the man, to the man. You know what I mean? Sports podcast. Y'all know how we doing it. You know what I mean? Hey, we doing something a little different today. You know what I'm saying? We got my boy, the man, in the undisclosed location. You know what I'm saying? While I'm in the studio. Hey, holla at him.
What it do? What it do, world? Hey, man, before we get started, I got two things.
Mm-hmm.
Before we even get into the top, I got two things. First of all, we ain't been on in a couple of weeks. I want to give a shout out to my wife Nicole, man, for our 6-year anniversary. We celebrated March 18th, man. So thank God. I love you, baby. Also today, April 6th, is my dad's birthday. So shout out to my dad, Ronnie Sr. Happy birthday, sir.
But y'all just got a whole
So
family situation going on, huh?
hey man, hey, you gotta spread the love, my guy. But yeah, I'm in my secret location, man. Out of town right now, but I can't wait to get back. So what's going on with you, bro?
Hey man, in the sports world, man, it's been a little wild, man. Especially with the NCAA, and all the stuff they got going on. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah,
Shout out to the LSU women. You know what I
there
mean?
you
Shout out to
go.
them for bringing it home. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
I like the South Carolina or LSU. You know what I'm saying? Either one of
Mhm.
them, I was gonna, pretty much go with. And then UConn, they brought it
Yeah.
home, which I don't think that was a big surprise to anybody.
No.
Now I'm a Miami fan, so I was going for the Miami, but we couldn't do anything. They was just doing whatever they wanted to do.
Yeah.
But hey, that's how we get it. You know what I'm saying? Did you watch the game?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Most definitely. I didn't. Well, as far as UConn. I didn't have a dog in the fight. My team was out in North Carolina. They didn't even make it, so I didn't
Mm.
have a dog in the fight. But the way excuse me, the way UConn was playing, from what I remember, they were blowing out everybody. It was double-digit wins on every game, so it was kind of obvious that UConn had a dominant team and they were going to win the championship. But I'm really happy for Angel Reese and the LSU Tigers, especially after the controversy that happened with her between
Hey,
her.
hey, hey, hey!
Well, I'm
Don't.
gonna say it like this: it's not necessarily between her and Caitlyn. It was the media that made it between her and Caitlyn. So I'm still happy how she handled herself and came out on top with the win.
Well, since you just want to go ahead into the topic, we might as well bring it on up then. Okay, all right.
That's right.
Since I was just leaving that for that the end of it, but you want to bring it up, we're going to go ahead and go into it then. You might as well. We're
Yes,
going to
sir.
flow into it. So, my question to you, Mr. Man, given the hard fought game that they had,
Yeah.
they blood, sweat, and tears they done put into it. They came out and our kind of it was they was had a swagger going on with South Carolina. You know what I'm saying? They disrespect. You know what I'm saying? All this type of stuff. You know what I mean? The John Cena stuff going on. You know what I mean? Um, my thing is this. This is my question to you. Do you think it's fair that everybody respects Caitlyn for her, grit and competitiveness to where she's like, oh, okay, this is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna show that, hey, my Mamba mentality type thing. You know what I mean? Um, do you think it's fair that she gets the praise and Angel Reese gets more of the disrespect and more of like, hey, you need to do better, and more of like, you know, it's a competitive sport. So
Mhm.
what you think, but I want to get your thoughts on that whole controversial situation there.
Well, regards to the two women, I think it was more of a competitive thing. I don't even my beef was not even with between them two.
Mhm.
My beef is with the media and how they portrayed the beef or the so-called beef.
Mhm.
When a lot of when all that stuff was going on with the John Cena shake and all that kind of stuff,
Mhm.
there was a lot of comments made on how classless and distasteful the Angel Reese was and all this kind of stuff. So I think the media spent it and used it as a way to get ratings. And they turned it into that when it really wasn't. And I commend Caitlyn for coming out and saying what she said about it wasn't that big of a deal. Those are the kind of things that we need to to shut those kind of topics down
Mm-hmm.
when the other player involved, especially a white player involved, comes out and says, y'all making it more than what it was. It was just two women being competitive, going at each other, and I respect the game. She respects me. I respect her. And I think I think it was a good thing that she came out and said that, but I just don't like the way the media try to spin it to get more ratings and make it more than what it really was. So I just don't like that part of it.
Well, you had people coming out like the Barstool's owner coming out and saying these outlandish things about
Hmm.
how it was classless and etc. And you're like, is it really, or is it just they just being competitive? Now, if you're going all over fighting, doing stuff like that, I respect that. You know what I mean? Like, hey, it's
Right.
got to be some type of organized function. You know what I mean? You can't just do anything you want to do, but it shouldn't take for Caitlyn to come out and have to say that. You feel what I'm
I
saying?
agree.
Like that's the thing that I looked at. Like why we couldn't dissolve this before it even got to that point of people asking
Hmm.
her questions and she had to answer that. Like, hey, this is a competitive sport. You know what I mean? I came out, I did it. I take the L. We lost. They beat us. That comes with it. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
And I think the biggest portion of that is that we as people need to do better. You know what I mean? Because the men do it all day. You know what I'm
All
saying?
day.
Like they do worse stuff. You know what I mean? Like hey, they say worse stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like Jalen Ramsey. He was in college. He was you know texting, DMing. His opponent girlfriend. You know what I mean? So it was you know what I mean. It was to a whole nother level. You know what I mean? So that's my thing. You know what I mean? Like don't let's not just praise the men and praise certain individuals for doing that when
Hmm.
everybody can't have that equal playing field. You know what I'm saying? I think that's the biggest portion. You know what I'm saying? And if you look at all the previous games, Mr. Man, Angel Reese, she was doing that the whole year. That was her swagger. You know what I mean? That was her edge. Everybody don't go out there and just say nothing and just shoot baskets and whatever. You know what I mean? There's a motivation factor to that. You know what I mean? And I think she was bashed for that. You feel what I'm saying? Bashed. I think, to be honest, when they had that undefeated, you know what I mean? They was undefeated for like 25 plus games or whatever before they got beat. Um, people was paying attention to them, but they wasn't really like limelight like Caitlin and Iowa was or South Carolina was. 'Cause even
Hmm.
South Carolina, the head coach, you see what she said at the post conference. You know what I mean? You see what she said. So there is something there that still needs to be worked on. Obviously. But going forward, this is my second question to you. Um, do you think it would change?
No. Well, this is supposed to this controversy did two things. One, it took away from the win and the you know the celebrating of LSU winning because the topic came about them two and the division in between races, which is my
Mhm.
second point.
Mhm.
It became a race thing when they really didn't have to.
Mhm.
However, it did expose a lot of the races or anti-Semitic comments that were coming out about Angel Reese and how all the stuff that she did, and now I don't think it was warranted.
Mhm.
But no, it's not going to ever end because it's always going to be that controversy, especially when social media and the media itself got bring attention and awareness to it, and they because that's what the post conference was all about. It should have been about the celebration of LSU winning, but it's all about Angel Reese seemed like she had to explain herself of why she did certain things and why she had to come out the way she did instead of just say, "Hey, we had a great season, we did a great job, thanks to the coaching staff, thanks to the team." None of that was in the limelight. It was more about the controversy, and I just think because of because of how the media is set up to get ratings, to get people to come in and watch it, watch this station, that's what it turned into. And I just can't get with that all the time. You know what I mean? Because it didn't have to be about that, but it turned into that because of what people were saying, and the media ran with it.
And then to top it all off, do you feel like it was very disrespectful for floaters that come out and say, "Hey, LSU, y'all know y'all getting invited to the president's house, the White House. You know what I mean? You know, How about our? Y'all can tag along too after getting demolished? What you think about that?
But that goes back to what I'm saying. It kind of brought out, not to say that she's specifically racist, because there was
Mm,
other racist stuff that was said,
mm,
but that it just takes away from the win of LSU and what they accomplished.
yeah.
Why? Never in history that I know since I've been alive 44 years, almost 44 years,
Mm-mm.
that the second place winner or second place person has been invited to the White House after a championship game. Never, and I never seen that. So why would you do that?
Yeah, and you know, I know this is a debate and everything, but I just feel like this is the hottest topic that's out, and I feel like it needs attention.
Mm-hmm.
But that's never happened. You know what I mean? Who we're not here for participation trophies. You know what I mean? There's a winner, there's a loser. If a loser is going to get invited to the White House, that diminishes the presence of going to the White House. You know what I mean? Because
Mm-hmm.
what is the point of going somewhere where you are supposed to be acknowledged for winning when the loser's there
Mm-hmm.
too? I just like, oh yeah, San Diego State, y'all could come too. You know what I mean? Like you
Yeah.
might well you might well invite the whole world to the White House if you want to play. I mean, you might well invite all teams to the White House because and ain't no point. It's a distinguished merit. You know what I mean? So if you win the championship, you go to the White House and then
Yep.
Disneyland. You know what I mean? Like that's usually how it go. You know what I mean? Like, and I felt like one from a different angle. Mighty Joe gonna have to come and say something. He gonna have to,
Yeah, he should
he
have said.
hey
Yeah,
he gonna
he
be
should
like,
have been
hey
said something.
hey come on in the kitchen. Let's talk for a little bit. And I don't think you should have said that. You know what I mean? I
Come
think
here,
this.
Jill. Come on, let me
Yeah,
talk to you. Let me talk to you.
let me talk to you for a little bit. And the thing about it was she had no business even saying that, and it wasn't even a point to even bring that up. You put that on yourself. You know what I'm saying? Now you bringing this politic thing into it when it shouldn't even be that. You feel what I'm saying? And now it's blowing up. The controversy is blowing up even more. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And I think it should be a warrior mentality, right? We go out, we do what we're supposed to do, we fight to the end, we try to win, and then it's a respect factor after the fact. Even even Angel, she said she was like, "Hey, I know I went to Caitlin. I was like, hey, I know I was a little overboard. I apologize." And Caitlin was like, "Respect it. You won. You know what I'm saying? Respect it. I respect it all day. If somebody beat me,
Mm-hmm.
hey, you got my utmost respect."
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like going forward, they really need to check that because already a lot of stuff with um, the women's NCAA anyway. Just like
Yeah.
when COVID hit, you know what I mean. You seen their gym, their restaurants and stuff that they was dealing with, and you seen the men's. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? Like so, that's still a thing. You know what I mean? Equal. We need an equal playing field for both. You know what I mean? And I like it when it brings out. This was the most women. I don't misquote me, but I know this was one of the top viewing events for women
Mm-hmm.
of all time. I know it was at least top 10. I think in the women's NCAA, it was top 10 too. I want to say it was more than 4 million plus views.
Mm-hmm.
Women basketball, especially women's college basketball, has not been really getting looked at like that. So they brought another aspect to the game because of their competitiveness and what they was doing. It was
Mm-hmm.
the two best elite trash talkers going against one another. Who wouldn't want to see that?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I think that portion, you know what I mean. I love them dominating. I love them doing, what I mean, what they do. You know what I mean? That
Mm-hmm.
makes me tune in more. Now Caitlin, moving on, she might be one of the best WNBA players that we ever seen, right? Because the girl can shoot all the way
Possibly.
from Mars. You know what I'm saying?
Possibly.
Hey, but we're gonna see how it go, and we gonna go from there. You know what I mean? Hey, now I would say moving forward, I feel like that is the right formula. You know what I mean, for women's basketball to grow. What you think?
Well, that's one aspect to it as far as the trash talking and the competitive nature.
Mm-hmm.
It definitely has gotten competitive over the last several years, especially because of UConn was dominating the women's basketball in Tennessee for a long time. It was either UConn, Tennessee, or Notre Dame or somebody like that out of the blue every once in a while.
Mm-hmm.
But in having South Carolina come up to the ranks like they did the last few years, now LSU, I think as long as the landscape keeps growing, as long as the talent keeps getting better, and the landscape of the teams get equal opportunities for girls to go play, and they can continue to get better, I think it will get more competitive. But I just think you just need to let women loose and not hold them to the standard when they're being competitive on the basketball court. And we gotta learn to separate basketball, where they play, or whatever sport they play, versus what they do outside of outside the court. But when you play sports and I play sports, we know how competitive it can get. There's a different type of swag, there's a different type of attitude, there's a different type of demeanor when you're on that playing field, and you got to let it show sometimes. But I think women get a different scope because they need to be elegant, they need to be sweet, they need to be all these different things. But the
Mm-hmm.
women are not built like that nowadays, especially in this competitive nature, because women have gotten better in sports overall in general. So I think naturally it is a competitive thing, and they need to be let it show. But you got to have that fairness, like you were saying.
Mm-hmm.
It has to be across the board. It needs to be some sort of, I ain't gonna say regulation, but as long as it's not disrespectful, as long as it's not hindering the game in any kind of way, or you're
Hey,
not
hey, hey,
degrading another player, you
hey,
should let them girls play the way they need to play to be competitive.
hey. As long as it ain't run our test like. you
no,
know,
no hand throwing.
you know what I'm saying? Like, as long as it ain't run our test like, I think you'll be fine. You know what I mean? Like, hey, as long as it ain't to that nature, I think we'll be fine. But hey, make sure y'all tune in. Make sure y'all tune in, like, share. You know what I mean? We got a big surprise coming up, especially for our 25th episode. So make sure y'all tune in, like, and subscribe. Follow us on all social medias. Yo, we out.
Yeah.
Yo, it's the Man to Man Sports Podcast. And we coming at you again with a lovely segment. You know what I mean? Y'all know how we do it. How you doing, Mr. Man?
Yeah, I'm feeling good, my guy. What's going on?
Hey, I can't call it, what I'm saying? It seems like it wasn't a storm outside right now, but ain't no rain on my sunshine. You know what I'm saying? You know how we do it, man. Hey, we're gonna go ahead and jump right on into it, man. Hey, the Wild Wild West, man.
Mm.
It's getting serious out there, man. It's literally getting
Yep.
serious. You literally got two or three teams in the same position. Like, it's like right now, it's like who wants to lose? It's like who throwing games to get in a certain position, bro.
Look, I, what a difference a game can make. You know what I mean? A couple of episodes ago, we was talking about the Lakers and how I was disappointed and how Anthony Davis sat out a game against the Houston Rockets.
Mhm.
Now, now we see how critical it is for guys who are available to play,
Mhm.
and there's nothing wrong with them that should play because the game can make a difference. Now, that game they won, they lost last night to the Jazz, not the
No,
Jazz.
Clippers.
Oh, I can't remember.
Clippers.
I watched it last night.
Clippers.
Oh yeah, the Clippers.
Yeah.
Now, just think of how important, even though they lost that game last night, think of how important it could have been if they would have won that game against Houston.
Well, I beg to differ on that note. And the reason why I beg to differ and disagree with you, because it depends on what position that they're trying to be in. Because right now, if they would have won, you talking about they being tied for the fifth seed, and I don't think they want the fifth seed because you'll be facing the Suns in the first round. Because the fourth seed and the fifth seed will be playing each other. So right now, it's starting to make a little bit of sense on kind of what they're doing because of the point that they got the Suns and they got the Utah Jazz the last two games. Now we know they can beat the Utah Jazz, so that's a gimme. The Suns, they might lose, but I know they're trying to get the sixth seed, so we're gonna see what happens, and we're gonna see if the Suns play full man, as in they rest anybody. You know what I mean? We're gonna see what the other people do. We're gonna see if the Sacramento Kings, if they gonna rest anybody because they already clinched. You know what I'm saying? We're gonna see what they gonna do. You know what I'm saying? So right now and it's really hard to say. You know what I mean? But it's not really about just playing basketball right now. It's about people setting up schemes to see what seed that they want to be. And I have a feeling, it's just a hunch, but I have a feeling that somebody gonna be paying for some shirts. That's just my
I
feeling. Because
no.
you talking about the Lakers ain't gonna make it, da 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 da. Well, I just wanna tell you something. Ever since the trade, the Lakers been getting better and better and better. And everybody talked about when LeBron came back and how it was gonna be and stuff like that, but barring last night where they played a back to back, and I commend AD and LeBron for playing that back to back. I really do. Because they didn't have to. You know what I mean? And I feel like they lost, they shouldn't have. I mean, because they lost anyway. But I do think it's good for the future that they're showing good faith that, hey, we're trying to win a championship. But I want to say this. I want to ask you this. Do you have any change in your end results? You want to take back the bet? Because I know I'm gonna be a gentleman. I'm be a gentleman. Do you want to take back that bet? Because it's looking like right now that the Lakers are very, very dangerous. Do you still stand on your position that they're not going to
Absolutely,
get that far, and you still stand on your bet?
absolutely. They are not. They'll probably make it to the second round, and that's all I'm giving them. They won't make it past because at the end of the day, the goal is to make it to the playoffs, regardless of who your opponent is. Let's just say if they don't play the Suns and they get the Suns the second round anyway, they still got to go through somebody of a higher contender to get to the championship. So that the ultimate goal is to get to the playoffs, and then you should be ready to go regardless of who you play. Because there's been plenty of teams who were at the bottom seed and won championships. A lot of the Houston Rockets, and I think it was early in the early '90s or whatever it was, mid '90s. One of my points I want to bring up though, especially when it comes to these back to backs. Years ago. I had my Cadillac in the shop, and a car dealership gave me a car to use until they got my car fixed. And with that car, it came with a Sirius XM feature. And I would listen to some Sirius radio talk, and I would listen to, I forget the guy's name, but he was a sportscaster, and he was talking about the 71-72 Lakers winning streak. During that time, they won 33 games in a row. Do you know what? He gave a special stat during that streak that was quite interesting to me that I want to bring up when it comes to back to backs. During that 33 game win streak, you know how guys are complaining now about back to backs. Well, we just played last game. We want to take a break this game. During that 33 game win streak during that for them Lakers, there were four times during that win streak where they played back to back to back games, averaging almost 16 points a win during that streak, beating other teams. So and you got to take into account too, the teams back in those days, didn't have the accommodations that the teams have nowadays. It was a lot more personal stuff. You had to do your own washing. You had to do all this own carrying, all this own luggage and all that kind of stuff. The teams nowadays, all they got to do is just pretty much get dressed and go. So I just think sometimes the excuse of wanting to sit out, especially when doing a playoff push, I can understand maybe doing a regular season, but when you talk about a playoff push, jockeying for a position in the playoffs, I don't think that's the time to sit down on the back-to-back when you're trying to win a championship. And that's another reason why I'm not giving them all my confidence into the Lakers about trying to win it. Because if you really want to win a championship, you're gonna go balls to the wall, even if unless it's just some injury or something going on that you just cannot avoid. But if you're healthy enough, forget being tired. Mama was tired, broke his dad or tore his daggone Achilles, hit free
That's what
throws.
happened.
Jordan in the flu game,
That
food
wasn't the flu.
poisoning,
That wasn't the flu
38
game.
points. You know, I'm just
Get the
saying, if
grip,
you
man.
ain't
Get the grip.
if you ain't sick, if you ain't hurt, if you ain't tired, like you can't get no sleep tired, you need to be out there balling. That's why I just can't give them my all to the Lakers. I just can't. Round 2, I give them that, but that's it. Nothing past
Well,
that.
I'm gonna tell you this. They're gonna be in round 3. You know what I'm saying? So you don't have to worry about it. But my thing is this. I disagree. And my portion is this. 80 can get a paper cut tomorrow. You know what I'm saying? So you have to figure out something. You feel what I'm saying? That works for them. Now, Houston, I felt like, in all honesty, he should have played that game because
Should have played.
he could have averaged 18 and 24 minutes and they would have won the game. You know what I'm saying? You could have limited him in minutes, but put him in impactful times in that game, right? And they would have won. But I disagree because of the notion of if you know where you're headed and you know where you're gonna be, and you have faith in your backups, then I would sit him too, especially when he's getting hurt as much, and you gonna need him in the playoffs. Like he was on a stretch, literally going for 34 and 12 averaging. You feel what I'm saying? Like he literally was going ham, right? So my thing is maybe they might have found something. Maybe you know what I mean? Because he'll have 1 or 2 games where he don't show up, but you got LeBron back now. You know what I'm saying? LeBron know what time it is. You feel what I'm saying? Like, and at the same time, even he said the last game was a scheduling conflict, right? And I kind of knew it was gonna be far stretch that they probably was gonna lose. He came out with at least 4 turnovers in the first half, but you see, he started winding up in the second half. Everybody started running because you know what I mean. The flight was late. They actually didn't do what they're supposed to do when they played the Utah Jazz, which that's their fault. But still, you know what I mean. That stuff happened. You know what I mean. But I still think Sacramento ain't seeing them. The Memphis Grizzlies, they ain't seeing them. The only team that I think are the only 2 teams I think that is a little. I'm gonna give my respect to Golden State because they got the best, literally top 2 best backcourt of all time, greatest shooters of all time, and the Suns. I'm gonna give them to a shot. But outside of that, man, I really anybody else. Now, what's surprising me is the New Orleans Pelicans, but that's a whole nother conversation. But I feel like this. They gonna make it to the 3rd round. You're gonna be paying for a shirt. You feel what I'm saying? And when they get on rotation, you know what I'm saying? They still building chemistry, man. And they playing like this. You feel what I'm saying? Like, and tell me this, Ronnie, Mr. Man. Tell me this. So who would bet on Russell Westbrook coming out that hot? He ain't been that hot all season.
But he might have found his
Man, he ain't
spot
found nothing. Man,
in the Clipper lane.
The last game he wasn't hot with the Clippers.
I'm just saying.
The Clippers started losing once he got there.
I'm not discrediting the Lakers and what they done. They got the 2nd best record after the trade deadline. But even with that being said, it was only 16-7. So they still is a little bit of a tussle in there trying to trying to get their rhythm. And I know they had injuries, and LeBron's been out, and AD's been in and out of the lineup. I know that plays a role into it.
Man,
However, you
D-Lo ain't
also
even been
playing
playing
with,
like that.
but you also playing with some unproven guys who haven't been in the playoffs either. So
Yeah, but
you talking
that's
about,
but when you got
you know what I'm saying?
experience, when you got
So when
experience
you're
on that
not,
squad.
but see, when you're not, when you AD and LeBron are not playing, you're relying on guys who don't have any experience, and that's why I'm having difficulty giving them credit. Because you need to be stepping up and getting them prepared and showing them like, look, this is what we got to contend for. And when you got guys who haven't necessarily been there, there's a different type of pressure, which we already know. Like the example when we seen with the young lady at the NCAA championship when she missed the free throw on the air ball. That's a different type. When you haven't been there
That
before,
was
that's a
pressure.
different type of pressure.
That was pressure. I was
You know
pressure.
what I'm
She
saying?
showed
So
me
I just think the
everything.
Lakers, I mean, Sacramento's hungry. They're young and they got some. I ain't gonna say no seasoned veterans, but they got some people who've been in the league for a little while that
First
might
round
that
out.
might give them some noise. Memphis, they've been there. They
First round
they
out.
they got some experience. They haven't run. They haven't won like they haven't went to the East or Western Conference Championship and nothing like that. But I think they're more seasoned now. The Warriors, you don't know what they're going to get, especially with Andrew Wiggins coming back. But they're still a dangerous team. But I do agree, Denver and Phoenix are going to be the ones that's going to be at the top. I just don't know
I
which
didn't
one
say
yet
Denver.
until the playoffs see, but I just don't see the Lakers going past two, man. I really don't.
Hey, I didn't say Denver. I
Well,
said
I say
Golden
Denver and
State.
Phoenix.
Golden State, and I said the Suns.
Mm-mm.
The Denver.
Denver and the Suns.
Hey, Denver. Sacramento. And the Memphis Grizzlies all can be put out in the first round. Literally, if they play the Lake, I mean, to be honest, if I'm looking at the setting and the seeds, those are three teams that I'm looking at. Cause if say the Lakers win the 7th seed, they'll be matched up with the Grizz. I take that all day. They got they got issues along themselves as long as issues outside of themselves. You feel what I'm saying? So they don't know what they gonna do. You know what I'm saying? And with that being said, man, I still told you, man, Ja Morant is not proven. Like people are like I've been saying that all 8 episodes. You know what I'm saying? Like literally, I've been saying that. And then Jokic, the guy, he's a nice gentleman, man. I give him that. But when you talking about basketball and being competitive, man, no, not gonna happen. Like literally, Embiid should win the MVP. I'm just note that right there. I'm just note
Yeah,
that.
I agree with that.
Yeah, Embiid should win the MVP. But I don't think no, Jokic no. I think the only people is the Phoenix Sun and the Golden State because of the ability of outside shooting and Clay and Steph can go out for 40. Either one can go out
Yeah.
for 40. So I think with that being said, and Wiggins coming back, but I don't put too much stock in Wiggins because he's been out for like 22 games. So he got to get
Mm-hmm.
his legs up on his stamina. You know what I mean? So, and that takes time. So I don't know just yet on that note. But I really think the Lakers got a shot, as in a great shot, to come out of the West. Now they're gonna have a tussle at the Western Conference Finals, but I think if they're trying to do it this year, they can do it.
I would agree that the chances are better after the trade, but I still don't think it's enough. I just don't think it's enough, man. Because Phoenix has been on a win streak since Kevin Durant came back from injury. They've been looking really good. Going into the playoffs, that's what you want. You want some rhythm going into the playoffs, some momentum. And I think Phoenix, as far as that goes, is probably the best equipped team to go, especially being that they only 2 years removed from the finals. And now you're adding KD to that pretty good lineup. I think that's going to be a tough out, man, for
Yeah.
anybody.
Well,
I,
they will meet in the Western Conference Finals though, potentially.
I
So
just don't see it, man.
so that's
I just don't.
what round is that though, Ronnie? What round?
It don't matter. I'm just
No.
saying
It
you.
do matter with the bet.
But I'm just saying, even with outside the bet, even if they make it past the second round and I got to pay for a shirt for a fan, they still not going to the finals. They're not going to
Oh,
the
so you
NBA
just saying they
finals.
ain't going? Period. I got you. You have no
They ain't
faith.
going to the finals.
Ye of little faith. Hey,
They should not
ye,
go to the
hey,
finals.
ye of little faith. Okay, all right, I got you, I got you.
But
So,
even if they, let's just say hypothetically they do go to the final, they shock me and go to the finals.
yeah,
They cannot contend if the Bucks make it. They cannot contend with Giannis,
hey,
and they cannot deal with Embiid. They just can't. They
hey,
ain't built for that.
if they win the championship, you gotta go streaking around your neighborhood.
I ain't doing that. It might be a blackout.
Ah! Hey, but all jokes aside, the potential is there. I feel like they should have been did this, but it behooves them to do whatever they was doing. But my thing is this right now, the Mavs, which is I don't they that's Kyrie team, and it's kind of weird to say that, but Luca was supposed to be the face of that franchise. But when Kyrie got there, you ain't even heard of Luca. Like it's like he's starting to fade among whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like he's not even like existent, and they can't get it together. So
Mm.
my question to you is this: if Kyrie becomes the face of the Mavericks, because the owner already said that he's a top priority this offseason for them to get him to come back. So if he stays, do you think Luca is looking for somewhere else to go?
I think he should go. In all honesty, um, when the trade first happened, it looked great on paper. Because you got a premier player in Kyrie Irving added to a already premier player in Luka Doncic. You on paper it looks great, but when you look at the whole scope of it, they gave up some pretty good players, especially perimeter player that played great defense. You know what I mean? And Dinwiddie and I can't remember the other guy. And then you got Brunson gone, and nobody knew that Brunson's gonna be as good as he is now, like he is in New York. He was doing he did pretty good at Dallas, but now he blew up
Mm-hmm.
in New York. So I think you took those two things away, those players away, and now all you got in Dallas is Luca and Kyrie, isolation ball, and it made it easy for the defense because all we gotta do is hone in our defense on Luca and Kyrie. Nobody else can do nothing for themselves. And then it just changed the whole dynamic. I think they thought the trade off from getting Kyrie, since he was such a great player, they was going to get a better trade off, and they wasn't because we know Kyrie and Luka are both a liability on defense. They're not going to give you that great of defense.
100%.
Offensively, they're going to give you all the points they want that you can handle.
Yeah.
But when they traded Dinwiddie and the other player away, that kind of changes dynamics on their defense, and now they don't have as strong a defense as they did on the perimeter. And Kyrie and Luka are just isolation ball. Because I think one of the main stats that came up in sports on that particular team that their assists went down, which means there's a lot of one-on-one balls. Nobody's creating plays for nobody else.
No
So
movement.
that's another thing too. Nobody else is getting involved. So that shows you that it's just Luka and Kyrie doing the offense, and everybody else is just kind of standing around.
Well, I would say this. Um, when you said it looks great on paper, yeah, it does. But I go even further. Mentality,
Mm.
personalities. You feel what I'm saying? Like Luca personality, he's not. I mean, he's competitive, but he's not as outlandish and controlling as or throw ideas on as Kyrie. You know what I mean? Kyrie, you just feel it on him when he step in the locker room. Like it just comes off of him personality wise and his demeanor. Luca's more of the we're gonna play, we're gonna be nice, everything's gonna be fun and we're gonna go out, ball out. But have you seen how his body language been since Kyrie got there?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
It's been
Yeah.
terrible. Like and Kyrie like, oh, I'm gonna do me. You know what I'm saying? Hey, I'm finger roll. You know what I'm saying? Like that's Kyrie, and I feel like the only person that can put Kyrie into a regular box is LeBron James. I feel like that those two were just meant to be together. As no other person that you see. He done skipped to what he was with the Nets, the Celtics, and the Mavs. That's 3 teams he done been with. You know what I mean? So I think that portion is something that everybody undervalued. You know what I'm saying? For lack of better words, I think they undervalued that portion of how he would be as a team setting. We know he's a
Mm.
great individual talent, but how would he help us moving forward as a team? They got more losses than wins since he's been there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's went downhill. So this off season is going to be big for them. Not only them, the Lakers, and everybody else in the West, seeing what they're going to do. Who you got coming out the East?
And I want Philly to come out, but the way the Bucks are playing, it's hard to see somebody beating the Bucks right now.
Hey, you know who Philly remind me of? The Grizzlies. Okay, because they're not going to make it out the East. They're just playing good for right now. And that's what's going to happen. Like their best chance was when Kawhi was in Toronto. That was their best chance.
Toronto.
Yeah, that was their
Yeah,
best
well,
chance.
yeah. One shot away.
Yeah, yeah. So
One shot away.
that's the only chance I see because Harden is not Houston Rockets Harden. So and MB is, yes, he's playing out of his mind, but who gonna help? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
I don't want to throw no shots, but I got to do it. Doc Rivers. I mean, think about it. All his teams. Is there a common denominator? Yes,
Well,
there is.
outside of the Boston team, yeah. I mean,
I mean,
but when you look
even
at
with the
the,
Boston team, he got beat by LeBron.
I mean, I'm just saying, I mean, they did win it. He did win a championship, but that was back, what, 2010, 2009, 2009. But I just don't see nobody matching up with Milwaukee. I mean, Philadelphia exposed Al Horford because AB, all he did was take him out on perimeter and knock down shots. So Al Horford needs to be in the box guarding, and that's the same thing with Milwaukee. Who's going to guard Brook Lopez if he's out there shooting threes? And then you got Giannis running loose to get rebounds and stuff. That's how. So I just don't think Boston. Boston is great. I just don't think they can match up with
I
Milwaukee.
I think
Philadelphia's the same way.
I think if Brown goes off for the Celtics, they have a chance against Milwaukee. I think it flows through him. I don't think it flows through Jason Tatum. I think
I
both of
agree with that.
I think both of them will have to go out for 40, but I think Brown has to have a dominant game for them to succeed against Milwaukee, and they're gonna have to frustrate Giannis. If they
Mm.
frustrate him where he can't go in a hole like he think he can and get him in foul trouble, I think it's a different ball game because Milwaukee turned into a different team. Um, so I do have Celtics and Milwaukee going against each other.
Mm.
I don't have the 76ers or whatever. Like, I don't know. I think they might get put out in the second round. I'll give them the first round pass, but I think second round. And then I do think this. After this year, and this is a question towards you. Who do you think will be the face of the NBA?
I don't know. I mean, there's so many stars now. I mean, I don't know.
So
I
you,
mean, they were trying to give it to Jason Tatum at one time because he's supposed to be the next Kobe, so to speak. But I haven't seen him, even though he's improved over the years. I haven't seen him take that major leap.
so
They
so
said
so my other question would be, so who is the face of the NBA right now?
of course, it's LeBron for right now.
Oh, that's all. I was just trying to get you to
I
say that.
mean,
I mean,
yeah, but yeah, you keep thinking I'm a LeBron hater. I mean, I was at one time, but as a basketball fan, I got to give him credit. But I mean, as of right now, he's the face of the league. I just, I don't know who's going to give that torch to. I
yeah,
mean,
I was hoping, um, because I mean, if you look at the face of the league, Giannis has the awareness off the court to be it, but I think there's a lot of stuff that come into play with that. You got to have the personality and etc. I never thought Steph was gonna be the face of the league. A lot of people were saying that KD just didn't want to be the face of the league. Um, I really don't know this next generation, man. It's getting real. After because you had the years, and it's going a little bit deeper. You had of course, Dr. J, the Larry Birds, the Jordan. He had a tight grip on it, and then you had the Kobe years, and then LeBron, which Kobe kind of fluctuated in there because he was playing in the era of Jordan, and then he had his little time. It wasn't as lengthy as all the other players I said, but and then you had LeBron, coming in. It was the face of the league. Now it might be I forgot his name. The tall, slender guy that's coming out of the. I don't know if you play like overseas, the Euro guy. His name starts with a W. It escapes me. Um,
Oh, I know. I can't think his name. I'll take the tall, real slender.
it's like Wimby or something. I don't know. I'm messing up his name.
Yeah.
But I think they might try to make him the face of the league. But right now, it's going forward. It's looking very dangerous. On where the NBA is headed. Cause
Well,
usually, go ahead.
well, every so often there is a patch of time to where there's not really a dominant player. There's just a hand group of guys who are pretty good.
Hold on,
And
hold on. When was this past
I
the
re-
time? Remind me.
was that now?
I am my mind and intellectual thoughts escape me. Where when was this? The patch of times where it was just a group of good players.
I This was like in the early to mid 2000s. I remember Magic Johnson and all those guys during the All Star game, the All Star weekend. Like, man, this is boring. There's nobody really doing anything. And then I remember when like Dwight Howard came out and did that Superman dunk. Or he did something spectacular in the dunk contest. Everybody, oh, the All Star weekend is back. We got all the dunk. It's fun again. So there's not like a major one superstar that I see right now. There's a bunch of guys that are good, but I don't see like a major superstar that can take over like LeBron and the Michaels and the Kobe's and all those guys right now. I mean, there might be some potentials, but there's a lot of guys who are just really good, but there's nobody who's gonna be like as dominant, like it's gonna be the headline every single time the TV turns on.
Like
I don't see that guy right now.
if they play the tickets triple, if they don't play the tickets diminish.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? It's just
Box
you
office.
know, I mean, there's a lot of talent out there. Talent's definitely got better, but I don't think there's that one dominant guy like when LeBron outside of Giannis or maybe Joel Embiid, but there's not that one dominant guy who's gonna be like on the headlines every time you turn on Sports Center.
Yeah, yeah, and like I said, there's a lot that plays into that. That would be my biggest thing. But who do you think has the most to prove in these playoffs coming up?
I mean, in all honesty, it's probably the Lakers.
What?
They got the most to prove
Okay.
because of the way the team is structured and the way LeBron is carried his team for years and trying to get that fifth championship to be considered because everybody's still not giving him credit for that bubble championship, even though it's a championship. And he got 4 rings. People are still not giving him credit for it. So
Yeah.
I think they got something to prove. I think Phoenix got something to prove too.
Okay.
Coming off 2 years off removed from the championship and now adding KD to that team, I think you know, that's kind of and Phoenix, not Phoenix, excuse me, Philadelphia, over that hump.
I'm gonna scratch all those. Philadelphia, um, Phoenix Suns, who else you said?
Lakers.
Lakers, because all I mean, if we look at it, there's people on there that want championship. So, I'm what I'm gonna say is this. Um, I think the one who has the most to prove is the Memphis Grizzlies. I think they have them because because they talk so much smack about, oh, we this, we that. Every time it's an altercation, oh, we them boys, oh, we coming, we bout that life,
No.
we from the streets. You know what I'm saying? Like whatever, and they always got something to say. Those other teams you name,
Mhm.
they just play ball, right? They don't never really have anything to say per se, as in to put themselves in that limelight. But since you want to
Mhm.
put yourself in that limelight, like the Memphis Grizzlies did, oh, so now you gotta respect it when we be like, okay, let's see something. You know what I mean?
They
You gotta respect that.
they not ready, man. I mean, I like their young core. I like what they doing there. As long as they stay together, they have a potential. But I don't think two things. I don't think they're gonna stay together after another 2 or 3 years. I don't think they're gonna do that. And they're just too young. They're not. They're not. They improve from what, 6 or 7 to second place. They just still not ready though. I think there's still some immaturity for the same reason you were just talking about. I don't think they're ready yet.
I ain't say they were gonna win, but I'm just saying they the one to me that feel like they have the most to prove because of the point of how they've been acting the whole season. Like they like the Pistons, the bad boys. You feel what I'm saying? Like they just
Yeah.
okay, all right, with Dylan and them boys out there. Like we just okay, you gotta come for me. You gotta do this. Da 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 da. I feel like they put pressure on themselves. So what I'm saying is, I'm gonna give you that pressure. You feel what I'm saying? I'm gonna be like, oh, okay, you say you gonna win. You say you gonna do this. You say you gonna do that. Oh, okay, let's watch and see. I'm tuned in right now. You know what I'm saying? Like, so that's my what I'm saying as in who got the most approved because they put that out there. Now, if they wouldn't have put it out there and just play ball, then I probably wouldn't have put them in that conversation. But since they want to be known and they want to be like, oh, okay, we them boys, this is what we want to do. Ja Morant, like, pew, 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 doing all that. You feel what I'm saying? Like, okay, all right. So I'm gonna give you what you want. You know what I'm saying? And I'm looking at you very closely because if you go out the first round, I don't even I don't even want to bring them up in another debate.
Well, the controversy surrounding Ja Morant is going to show one or two things. If they play well, it's going to show that they banded together and it made them stronger as a team, or it's going to show some discord and they're going to falter in the playoffs. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens in the next few weeks. I'm really excited to see what the playoffs hold. I mean, this is probably I think because of the seeding is so close this year. I think the playoff series on each one is going to be great to watch, man. It's going to be some good games going on. I think.
Oh yeah, most definitely. I think this is going to be one of the better playoffs that we've had in a while. Because if you look at the last decade, right? What's the key word that we've been looking at? I'm gonna answer it for you. 'Cause I know you don't know. Super teams, right? Super teams. You know what I mean? So
Yeah, like I don't watch basketball.
that's something that we've been talking about for the last decade. Super teams. Who's getting together? Okay, who's doing this? Oh, we know who gonna win. We're not even watching the season. You know what I'm saying? So this year, it is more advertising, it's more entertainment, it's more of an unknown on who gonna do what. So of course, that makes it more exciting to see what the outcome is going to be because we don't know. The playing field is so even right now, and the only thing I can say is the Suns might be the closest to a super team, yes, but they haven't played long enough that for us to really see, okay, it's just gonna really work. It's just gonna come together. Is KD gonna stay healthy? Is there gonna be any problem? Is there gonna be any chemistry, cohesiveness? Like, how's that gonna work out, and how's that gonna come? And then Milwaukee, they're not really a super team. They're just a great team and well put together. And they've been together, so they have chemistry to kind of move forward and get past those humps. So, this year, like you said, yeah, most definitely. It's equivalent. I feel like it's anybody's game. Yes, you have top tier teams, but they can be beat. And since I said that, we're going to go out on this note. Hey, like, share, get somebody else to like, get somebody else to share. And remember, we got our giveaway coming up, so make sure you tune in. And we're going to give y'all some instructions, and we're going to have another video where we're going to tell you how you can like, share, subscribe, and get those free t-shirts. Yo, we out.
Man to man.
Yo, this the Man Sports Podcast. Y'all know how we do it. You know it's your boy Nate. You know how we rep it. You know what I'm saying? You know we appreciate y'all. Y'all make sure y'all tune in and keep tuning in. And Mr. Man, what you got for him?
Well, we appreciate it for y'all tuning in to another episode. We appreciate the love and support. Y'all keep supporting us so me and Nate can continue to bring this content, man. We love y'all. Keep God first. Yeah.
We out. Today.